If someone asked you to draw an angel right now, you would probably draw a beautiful human figure with white wings and a halo. If they asked you to draw a cherub, you would probably draw a chubby baby with tiny wings. Both of those images are completely wrong. The Bible describes four distinct types of heavenly beings: angels, cherubim, seraphim, and archangels. Most people read these words as if they all meant the same thing, heavenly creatures with wings. But when you go back to what Scripture actually describes, you discover something that will shock you. Biblical cherubim have four faces: a human face, a lion face, an ox face, and an eagle face. They have four wings. Their legs are straight like pillars. Their feet are like the hooves of a calf, gleaming like polished bronze. And their entire bodies, including their wings, are covered with eyes. That is nothing like a chubby baby. In this video, you're going to discover what the Bible actually says about each of these four types of heavenly beings. What they look like, what they do, where they appear, and why mixing them up causes you to miss some of the most extraordinary passages in all of Scripture. Subscribe and hit the bell. And if this topic fascinates you, leave a like so more people can discover what the Bible really describes. Let us start with the most common and the most misunderstood: angels. The word angel comes from the Greek word angelos, which simply means messenger. In Hebrew, the equivalent word is malach, which also means messenger. That is all the word means: a messenger. Someone sent to deliver a message or carry out a task. And here is what surprises most people. When angels appear in the Bible, they almost never have wings. They almost never glow. They almost never look supernatural at all. In the vast majority of biblical appearances, angels look like ordinary men. In Genesis 18, three visitors appear to Abraham near the oaks of Mamre. They look like men. Abraham offers them food. They eat, they sit and talk. There is nothing visually supernatural about them. Only later does it become clear that these visitors are divine messengers, and one of them may represent God himself. In Genesis 19, two angels arrive at the gates of Sodom. Lot sees them and recognizes them as travelers. He invites them to his house. The men of the city see them and want to interact with them. Nobody screams at the sight of supernatural creatures. They look like men. In Judges 13, an angel appears to the wife of Manoah. She describes him to her husband as a man of God whose appearance was like the appearance of an angel of God. Very awesome. But when Manoah meets the visitor, he does not realize he is an angel until the being ascends in the flame of the altar and disappears. The book of Hebrews references this pattern directly. In chapter 13, verse 2, it says, "Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares."
Do not be afraid.
You can encounter an angel and not know it. That is how human they appear. When angels do reveal their true nature, the reaction is always the same: terror.
Then you may rise up.
Every single time an angel reveals itself in Scripture, the first words out of its mouth are, "Do not be afraid." That phrase appears so consistently that it has become almost formulaic.
May you be
Gabriel
blessed
says
for
it
your
to Mary.
generosity.
An
This is
angel says it to the
delicious.
shepherds. Angels say it to the women at the empty tomb. If angels looked like the gentle, glowing, beautiful figures in Renaissance paintings, nobody would need to be told not to fear them. The fact that fear is the universal reaction tells us that the
Malach,
real appearance
messenger,
of an angel
cherub,
in its
cherub,
revealed
seraph,
form is overwhelming and
archangelos,
terrifying.
archangel. Four
But here
different
is the
words,
key
four different
distinction.
beings.
Angels are messengers. Their primary function is communication and service. They deliver messages from God to humans. They carry out specific tasks. They protect, they guide, they fight. But they are defined by their role, not their appearance. Now let us move to the second type of heavenly being. And this is where everything changes. Cherubim. If angels are the messengers, cherubim are the guardians. They are associated with the presence of God in a way that no other beings are. They guard sacred spaces. They attend the throne. They are the living boundary between the divine and the human. And their appearance is nothing like what you imagine. The most detailed description of cherubim comes from the prophet Ezekiel. In chapter 1 of his book, Ezekiel describes a vision that is unlike anything else in Scripture. He sees 4 living creatures. Each has 4 faces, the face of a human in front, the face of a lion on the right, the face of an ox on the left, and the face of an eagle at the back. Each has 4 wings. 2 wings stretch out and touch the wings of the creature beside them. 2 wings cover their bodies. Under their wings they have human hands. Their legs are straight, and their feet are like the hooves of a calf, gleaming like burnished bronze. And they are covered with eyes, everywhere, on their bodies, on their wings, eyes that see in every direction simultaneously. In chapter 10, Ezekiel confirms that these living creatures are cherubim. He says, "I knew that they were cherubim." And he adds one detail that makes them even more extraordinary. The cherubim are associated with wheels, massive intersecting wheels called ophanim, that move with them. These wheels are also covered with eyes. The wheels move in any direction without turning. Where the spirit wants to go, the wheels go, and the cherubim go with them. The entire vision is one of overwhelming, terrifying complexity. These are not decorative figures. These are not babies. These are cosmic guardians of incomprehensible power and perception. The first appearance of cherubim in the Bible is in Genesis 3, verse 24. After the fall, God places cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden with a flaming sword that turns in every direction to guard the way to the tree of life. They are guardians, protectors of sacred boundaries. Their job is to ensure that what is holy remains separated from what is profane. This guardian role continues throughout Scripture. In the tabernacle and later in Solomon's temple, 2 golden cherubim are placed on top of the Ark of the Covenant, their wings stretched over the mercy seat. God says he will meet with Moses from between the 2 cherubim. The space between their wings is the most sacred space in all of Israel, the place where the divine presence dwells. In Solomon's temple, 2 enormous cherubim carved from olive wood and overlaid with gold stand in the Holy of Holies. Each cherub is 10 cubits tall, roughly 15 feet, with wings spanning the entire width of the inner sanctuary. Their wings touch in the middle and touch the walls on either side. The Psalms describe God as enthroned between the cherubim. He rides on a cherub and flies. He is borne on the wings of the wind. The imagery is cosmic, vast, and deeply alien to our comfortable picture of chubby babies. The Renaissance artists who painted cherubs as plump infants with tiny wings were not reading their Bibles. They were borrowing from Roman art, from the pagan figure of Cupid, the winged child god of love. That image has absolutely nothing to do with the biblical cherubim. Now let us turn to the third type, one that appears in only a single chapter of the entire Bible: seraphim. The seraphim appear exclusively in Isaiah chapter 6. Nowhere else in Scripture uses this specific term, and like the cherubim, they are nothing like what most people picture. Isaiah describes a vision of God seated on a high and exalted throne in the temple. The train of his robe fills the temple, and above him stand the seraphim. Each seraph has 6 wings. With 2 wings they cover their faces, with 2 wings they cover their feet, and with 2 wings they fly. The name seraphim comes from the Hebrew root saraph, which means to burn. Seraphim literally means the burning ones. They are associated with fire, with heat, with consuming holiness. And they cry out to one another with a call that shakes the foundations of the temple. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. The doorposts tremble at the sound of their voices. The temple fills with smoke. Notice several remarkable details. First, the seraphim cover their faces. Even these burning, powerful, heavenly beings cannot look directly at God. They shield their own eyes from the overwhelming holiness. If the seraphim cannot bear the full sight of God, what does that tell us about the intensity of divine holiness? Second, they cover their feet. In Hebrew culture, feet are associated with humility and unworthiness. Even the seraphim demonstrate reverence and submission before God. Third, they use only 2 of their 6 wings for flight. 4 wings, the majority, are devoted to worship and reverence. Movement is secondary, worship is primary. When Isaiah sees this vision, his response is immediate and devastating. Woe is me! I am undone. I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell among a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then one of the seraphim flies to him with a burning coal taken from the altar with tongs. The seraph touches the coal to Isaiah's lips and says, "Your guilt is taken away. Your sin is atoned for." This is the only action seraphim perform in Scripture, worship and purification. They circle the throne declaring holiness, and they purify the prophet so he can stand in the divine presence. Their entire purpose is centered on the holiness of God. Compare this to the cherubim. The cherubim guard sacred spaces. The seraphim declare sacred holiness. The cherubim are associated with God's throne and movement. The seraphim are associated with God's character and purity. They are fundamentally different beings with fundamentally different roles. Now we arrive at the 4th and final category, and this one is the most surprising of all: archangels. Given how prominent this word is in Christian culture, you might expect it to appear frequently in the Bible. It does not. The word archangel appears exactly twice in the entire Bible. The first appearance is in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16. Paul writes that the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a cry of command, with the voice of an archangel, and with the sound of the trumpet of God. The archangel is not named here. The second appearance is in Jude, verse 9. But when the archangel Michael, contending with the devil, disputed about the body of Moses, he did not presume to pronounce a blasphemous judgment, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." That is it. 2 verses. One named archangel, Michael. The word archangel means chief angel or ruling angel. The prefix arch means chief or principal, the same root found in words like architect or archbishop. An archangel is an angel of the highest rank, a leader among the messengers. Michael is the only being explicitly called an archangel in the canonical Bible. In Daniel chapter 10, he is called one of the chief princes. In Daniel 12, he is described as the great prince who stands guard over the people of Israel. In Revelation 12, Michael and his angels fight against the dragon. Many people also consider Gabriel an archangel, but the Bible never gives him that title. Gabriel appears 4 times in Scripture, twice in Daniel and twice in Luke. He delivers messages of extraordinary importance: the prophecy of 70 weeks to Daniel, the announcement of John the Baptist's birth to Zechariah, and the announcement of Jesus' birth to Mary. But he is called an angel, not an archangel. The tradition of multiple archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and others, comes from non-canonical literature. The Book of Enoch and the Book of Tobit name additional archangels. These texts are important for understanding Jewish tradition, but they are not part of the Protestant biblical canon. Now we can see the complete picture. Angels, malachim, are messengers. They look like ordinary men in most appearances. Their function is communication and service. They deliver messages, protect people, carry out divine tasks. The word simply means one who is sent. Cherubim are guardians of divine spaces. They have 4 faces, 4 wings, and bodies covered with eyes. They guard the Garden of Eden, attend the Ark of the Covenant, and carry the throne of God. They are associated with God's sovereignty and presence. Seraphim are the burning ones who attend God's throne in worship. They have 6 wings. They declare God's holiness continuously. They appear only in Isaiah 6. They are associated with God's purity and the purification needed to stand in his presence. Archangels are angels of the highest rank. The word appears only twice in Scripture. Michael is the only named archangel. They lead the heavenly armies and protect God's people. 4 different words, 4 different beings, 4 different functions. And yet for centuries, art and culture have collapsed them all into one image, a beautiful human with white wings. When you read the Bible with these distinctions in mind, passages that seem decorative suddenly become extraordinary. Ezekiel's vision is not abstract art. It is a detailed description of beings that exist beyond human comprehension. Isaiah's temple vision is not poetic metaphor. It is an encounter with holiness so intense that the prophet believes he is about to die. And the angels who visit Abraham are not glowing figures descending from clouds. They are men who sit down and eat lunch. The heavenly realm described in Scripture is far stranger, far more terrifying, and far more wonderful than any painting or movie has ever captured. And it starts with understanding that these 4 words, angels, cherubim, seraphim, and archangels, are not synonyms. They are 4 distinct windows into a reality that is beyond anything we have imagined.